From the street, Robie House promises openness, yet the entrance hides. Wright makes us turn, compress, and climb before revealing the great room, where structure, light, movement, decoration, and furniture become one cinematic architectural instrument. To understand Robie House, we must stop treating the interior as a neutral container that was later furnished. Wright designed the house from the scale of the city block to the scale of the chair. The masonry piers establish rhythm. The central hearth fixes an emotional center. The windows convert the wall into a luminous field. Built-in storage thickens the perimeter. Freestanding furniture defines territories inside the open plan. Even the lamps lower the perceived ceiling around the table. Every element participates in the same spatial argument. The furniture does not decorate the architecture. It finishes the architecture. The architectural leap becomes clearer when Robie House is placed beside homes built in Hyde Park and Kenwood at almost the same moment. Porches, balconies, and generous eaves already existed. Wright did not invent those elements. His achievement was to integrate them at an unprecedented scale. In nearby houses, roof, porch, window, and room often remain legible as separate parts. At Robie House, the cantilever, terrace, window band, and continuous main floor act as a single horizontal system. The innovation is not one isolated feature. It is the coordination of construction, perception, and domestic life. The south elevation is memorable, but it does not explain how the house is entered. The route is displaced from the monumental image. Instead of granting a direct frontal entrance, Wright draws the visitor along the edge, toward a recessed and protected threshold. The body slows down, the scale contracts, light becomes quieter. The house withholds its principal space. This is the first act of the interior composition, a deliberate separation between the public image of the building and the private experience of entering it. The apparent inconvenience is actually a precise editing device. It controls what we see, when we see it, and from which height. Inside, the sequence becomes more intense. A lower and darker hall removes the long exterior view. The visitor turns, then climbs. The stair works like a cinematic cut. It interrupts the first scene, changes direction, and prepares the reveal. Compression is measured through 4 variables: ceiling height, width, brightness, and visual distance. All 4 are restricted before the ascent. Wright is calibrating the body so the main floor will feel larger, brighter, and more continuous than its dimensions alone could produce. The drama of the great room begins before the room is visible. Before the ascent, the ground-floor playroom offers a quieter counterpoint. Its lower ceiling, built-in seating, framed openings, and more protected light create intimacy rather than spectacle. This is not the great living room above, but a deliberately compressed family space. Wright uses the same oak, art glass, and geometric discipline at a smaller scale, proving that the total interior governs both the public sequence and the rooms of everyday life. At the top of the stair, the house releases. Living and dining unfold as a long, continuous volume organized around the hearth. The plan is open, but not empty. The fireplace gives the room a center of gravity. Piers, soffits, built-in cabinets, and furniture establish zones without restoring conventional full-height partitions. The eye can travel farther than the body. Light arrives in a sustained band instead of through isolated holes. The main floor therefore feels both expansive and composed. Wright replaces the sequence of closed Victorian rooms with a field of relationships, center and edge, compression and release, movement and pause. What appears effortless required an exceptional structural decision for a house of 1908. The living room spans 32 feet between masonry piers. Steel is concealed within the dropped soffits, allowing broad openings and long cantilevers while keeping the house visually low. The technology is not displayed as an industrial skeleton. It is absorbed into the composition. That hidden frame lets the ceiling and roof project beyond their supports, allows glass to extend in long sequences, and prevents structural thickness from breaking the horizontal line. Today, open plans and wide glazing feel normal. Here they required construction to be pushed to the edge of contemporary domestic practice. The art glass windows should not be read as a collection of decorative panels. Together they form a horizontal field of light. Repeated mullions establish a measured cadence across the room, while the geometric glass modulates privacy and view. Wright transforms the wall from a heavy boundary into a layered membrane. The pattern operates at two scales. From a distance, it reinforces the long sweep of the room. Up close, it gives the eye a finer rhythm and filters the landscape. The result is neither a conventional punched window nor an entirely transparent glass wall. It is an inhabited edge where structure, ornament, and daylight remain inseparable. Robie House does not become horizontal through silhouette alone. The effect is manufactured at the level of every joint. Long Roman brick establishes the first direction. Vertical mortar joints are tinted red and brought flush with the brick face, so they recede. The horizontal joints remain light and deeply articulated, catching light and shadow as continuous courses. Cream Indiana limestone draws a second family of datum lines at bases, copings, and sills. Above, copper eaves and integrated gutters create a dark upper edge, now carrying a brown-green conservation patina. Beneath the cantilever, shadow completes the composition. Material, color, joint, and structure all direct the eye along the same axis. The dining ensemble reveals Wright's total design most clearly. The table establishes a social center, but the high-backed chairs do more than seat the family. Together, they create a permeable enclosure inside the larger open room. Their vertical planes define a territory without blocking the continuous volume. Integrated lamps bring light down toward the table, producing an intimate ceiling of illumination beneath the architectural ceiling above. This is the crucial paradox of the Robie interior. Openness does not mean the absence of boundaries. Wright replaces fixed walls with furniture, light, and rhythm. The room becomes simultaneously continuous and precisely zoned. Oak trim, brick, plaster, brass fittings, cabinets, art glass, and textiles are not a layer applied after the architecture is complete. They repeat and clarify its logic. Wood bands register the edges of ceilings and openings. Built-in cabinets thicken walls and turn storage into structure. The fireplace concentrates texture and warmth at the center. Geometric glass carries the house's ordering lines into daylight. Even the ceiling fixture becomes a small architectural frame. Decoration is therefore not an escape from function. It is evidence of the same compositional system operating at a more intimate scale, a system designed to guide focus, define thresholds, and make a very large room feel inhabitable. A total interior also raises a difficult question. If architecture determines the roots, furniture, light, and patterns of occupation, how much freedom remains for the people who live there? Wright's coherence can be extraordinarily powerful, but it depends on maintaining relationships between objects and space. Move the dining chairs, replace the integrated lamps, or fill the perimeter with unrelated furniture, and the composition begins to weaken. That does not make the house unlivable. nor does it prove that every Wright chair was uncomfortable. It reveals a productive tension. The closer architecture comes to designing a complete world, the more everyday change becomes part of the critical conversation. Return now to the street. The long facade no longer appears as a graphic composition alone. Behind it lies a carefully timed sequence: concealment, compression, turning, ascent, expansion, and light. Its openness depends on hidden steel. Its horizontality is reinforced by brick joints, limestone, copper, and shadow. Its great room remains ordered because the hearth, cabinets, windows, and furniture create territories together. Robie House is modern not because of one unprecedented object, but because Wright coordinated every scale, construction, movement, perception, and domestic life into a single architectural experience. The interior is not contained by the house. It is the house.